Hey, that's a guide for choosing a laptop. There's a lot of them, like really a lot. So it's hard to make a useful guide that explains every single feature out there in a few minutes video. That's why this guide is about basics that should be enough to make the proper choice. By the way, we'll show a couple of handy e-catalog features. So let's get started. The first question is, what do you need a laptop for? All laptops could be split into four general categories. The first one is high-performance devices. Those you'll need for editing videos, working with 3D graphics, etc. The second one is gaming laptops. Pretty much the same as high-performance devices, but with gaming features. Third one is office laptops, literally glorified typewriters. And the last one is, well, let's just say laptops that are all about the looks. We call them the stylish ones. They can have premium tier performance or entry-level performance, but they still look neat. Also, we made up some filters to make the choosing easier for you. There you've got work and play subcategory. Those are laptops that can give you kinda decent gaming and working experience and don't have a huge price tag on them. Also, there's the long battery life filter if you're always on the move and need your laptop to work longer as average. Bottom line of that, pick the one that suits your needs and requirements. Next one, display. I guess we'll make a separate video about screen types, refresh rates, screen resolutions, etc, etc, etc. But for now, we'll just state the obvious. VA and IPS panels are okay, OLED is perfect but pricey. Screen resolution shouldn't be less than Full HD. That's 1920 pixels horizontally and 1080 pixels vertically. 4K resolution is neat, but isn't really necessary unless you're working with video or photo editing. Also, it doesn't really make a huge difference on a screen of that size. Oh, by the way, size. If you are on the move like a lot, 13 inches should be enough. You know, carrying a laptop shouldn't be considered a workout. 15 to 17-inch laptops should meet all your gaming and working needs. And also keep in mind that if your laptop won't leave your house, predominantly will stay there, you can just ignore the weight, the size and buy a 17-inch one, because, you know, the bigger the better. Oh, and one more thing. Screen size of your laptop doesn't really matter if you're up for buying an additional display, maybe even a couple of them. By the way, that's exactly how our editorial board works at the office. They have more or less small laptops, they just connect it to one, maybe two external 24 to 27-inch sized displays. Hardware. That's where it gets kinda complicated, but we'll simplify that for you. We'll start with the CPU. Explaining CPUs deserves a huge separate video, but shortly speaking, AMD CPUs are cheaper, but they require advanced cooling. Thus, laptops with AMD CPUs are slightly bulkier, heavier, louder and hotter. I mean, they feel hotter. And the keyword is slightly. Intel CPUs, on the other hand, are more expensive, but laptops with Intel CPUs are slightly lighter, thinner and less noisy. The keyword again is slightly. I don't think you can point out either of the brands and say one is better than the other. It all depends on the generation and exact model. Personally, I prefer Intel, but AMD is much more popular these days, and that's a fact. If CPU performance really matters for you and you want to know more, well, knock yourself out. GPU or a graphics card, if you will. Every single laptop has one, but they differ, and by a lot. There are two types of those, integrated and discrete. Every single laptop out there has an integrated GPU, and it's an okay option. Way cheaper, way cooler in terms of temperature, silent or almost silent, because they barely require any cooling. You can even play something casual or old, like CSGO for example, or even something more modern like GTA 5, but on medium settings. Well, modern. GTA 5 is 10 years old now, or 11. Discrete GPUs are a must if you want to play modern AAA titles or work with videos or 3D graphics. They cost more, they are loud because of the excessive cooling, and they still produce tons of heat. But they give you like not quite unlimited, but it still applies. Again, think of what are you going to do with your laptop and choose accordingly. Also, just like in case with the CPUs, we've got test results for every single GPU out there, and not only the laptop ones. Comparing stuff can help sometimes, you know. RAM. Well, not that RAM, I mean random access memory. 4 GB of RAM these days isn't even an option. 8 GB is the minimum for casual browsing. Sure, some laptops are upgradable and you presumably can add more RAM later, but not all of them are upgradable. By the way, we have a separate filter for the quantity of RAM slots, because sometimes you have 2, sometimes you have 1 and another RAM module is soldered on the board. Sometimes RAM is not upgradable at all. Also, we have a filter for maximum RAM amount. Yes, it does affect the price, but not significantly, so it's better to pay a bit more now than suffer later. You don't change your laptop like every single year, or do you? If you do, that makes me kinda jealous. Coping, moving on. The amount of RAM is important, but that's not the only important thing about RAM. RAM also has frequency, and the higher it is, the better RAM will perform. It's not the game changer at all. It's not a big deal and probably you won't even notice the difference, but it's just better. Storage. HDDs are outdated as hell, so don't even consider buying a laptop with a hard disk drive an option. SSD, solid-state drive, is your only way. Capacity. The more, the better. Sure, if you're using your laptop as a typewriter for Google Docs or something like that, 120 gigs should be enough. But we, anyway, recommend having at least 500 gigabytes of storage, because you'll never know what you'll need tomorrow. Again, take a look at the filters. You can choose the format of pre-installed storage, 2.5, M2, or see the laptops which have additional M2 slots, for example. Pretty comfy, if you ask me. Oh, and one more important thing. Every laptop has several versions of it. Different amount of RAM, different CPU or GPU, different storage, different screen, but it's all pretty much the same laptop. We have all those lined up in handy charts below each and every model that has several versions, so you can easily understand which exact version you're looking at. Also keep in mind that any brand can release the same laptop, but for different markets, like US and Europe, for example, with different indexes on it. But in fact, there won't be any difference. Let's proceed. Laptop weight. Repeating oneself is bad, but once again, carrying your laptop shouldn't be considered a workout. That's why the weight of it is quite an issue if you move your laptop a lot. This is a serious issue, so take it seriously, especially when choosing the screen size. Sure, the bigger the better, but the heavier. Inputs and outputs. Once again, think of what are you going to do with your laptop. Are you going to use external mouse and a keyboard? Are they wired? Boom, there you go. 2 USB ports plus 1 just in case. That's just a simple example. What you'll really need is a Thunderbolt with Type-C interface. It could be anything you want it to be. It can provide power both ways. It can be used for connecting external GPUs or external displays. Indeed, it's a rare thing in entry-level laptops, but they are pretty much common in medium-tier ones. Also, keep in mind that USBs you'll have got to be 3.0 version, not 2.0. They are really outdated. And there are handy filters for USBs, 2 for types, 2 for quantity. Network stuff. There is a plethora of laptops that support Wi-Fi 6, but you'll need it only and only then if your router and your service provider can give you those types of speed. If not, why should you pay more for Wi-Fi 6 that isn't supported by anything except for your laptop? Wi-Fi version 5 should do the job. It's enough. Also, there are laptops that have built-in SIM card slots. They are pretty useful when you need an internet connection, but Wi-Fi is nowhere to be found. Sound. That's my favorite topic, to be honest. All you need to know is there are laptops with advanced sound. Sure, it's never a 7.1 hi-fi system. At least you can have decent sound in your laptop, so you can enjoy it while you're watching a movie or gaming without using any external audio stuff. Just check DTS-X, Dolby Atmos, more than 4 speakers and premium acoustics boxes in the multimedia filter section. Okay, that's it with the basic stuff. Let's get to some advanced optional features. Power delivery. That's a useful feature that gives power both ways. To the laptop for charging it, and out of the laptop for charging some external stuff using the laptop's battery. Though it can be only one way, it depends, so clarify that before buying any laptop with that feature. Full HD webcam. COVID made those things quite popular due to obvious reasons. Some people use them for work meetings, some people use them to communicate with their relatives, and for some people it's, let's just say, their job, if you know what I mean. Webcam shutter. Doesn't really matter if it's mechanical or electronic. It's useful so the reptiloids can spy on you. Just kidding, they will spy anyway. Fingerprint sensor. Your data is protected by your fingerprint, and it's awesome. Face ID. Your data is protected by your face scan. Double the awesomeness. TPM. Your data is encrypted and can be decrypted only on your exact laptop. This is ultimate security. By the way, in some countries TPM modules are even prohibited, so brands ship the same models but without the TPM modules. Numpad. That's a must-have if you work with digits a lot. And if you don't, you can specify the search to see the laptops only without the numpad. 13-inch models usually don't have it, 15-inch ones predominantly do, and 17-inch models are almost guaranteed to have it, because what else could you do with all that space? Keyboard backlight. It's way more comfortable to work or play with backlit keyboard, and it doesn't have to be that rainbow flickering stuff. Regular white backlight will do just fine. Brands. We can't and we won't recommend any brands because all of them have successful models and bad models. Some have more, some have less. The only thing we can actually recommend is to narrow your selection down to 3, maybe 2 models, and watch and read reviews, both media and user ones, afterwards. And don't overpay for the stuff you won't use. And that's it. If you still have any questions, you can post them in the comments and we'll answer any of those. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the video description where all the useful links are. See you!